Today, I wanted us to have a cozy chat, just a sit down where we reflect on the year that's passed. And I'm going to share some of the books that I've loved, some of the creative things that I've worked on, and more. But this isn't some sort of productivity recap. It's just a soft, honest look back on the year that's passed before we start thinking about next year. So why don't you grab a drink, grab something warm, get comfortable. And I think we should start with the easy part, so the books. Up to the time of me filming this, I've read 109 books this year. I actually started using Storygraph alongside Goodreads. I've used Goodreads for years, but I started using Storygraph about a month ago or two, probably two. And I am so impressed by the stats and by the way it breaks down your books into different categories. Oddly enough, when I imported my library from Goodreads, I got a lot of books that I've apparently read in languages like Estonian or whatever. I must have chosen the wrong editions when I was flagging it as read. But I'm going to be sharing more of my Storygraph stats next year once those are actually accurate, but that's not the point. Okay, so I read so many books and so many of them were incredible. I am really happy. I barely hit any reading slumps, to be fair, but a lot of the books were just really good or really satisfying, or they scratched an itch, like a cozy itch or something. And it was impossible for me to just choose my top three. So I cheated. I split them into categories broadly in how they influenced me or in why I like them. I'm not talking about genres or anything super formal like that. It's more just the vibes and the way they influenced me. So there were some books that completely hooked me, but these were first-time reads. So some of them I have physically, some of them I have on my Kindle, some I was listening to as audiobooks. There's a mix. But Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin was really, I was captivated. I loved the whole idea of a story told around the creation and development of video games and the importance of storytelling in different mediums, because I feel like stories are told through so many different ways and that we need to appreciate that. So I felt Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow did a brilliant job with that. I read Fourth Wing for the first time this year. My partner got it for me as a little surprise gift. And I mean, I got sucked in. I really enjoyed it. I was captivated by everything. I'm using captivated way too much. But anyway, I got super sucked in by this book. And I liked it. And then Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins, which was just heartbreaking. That was something else. There were a few classics I also fell in love with this year. Let me grab them. Here we go. We have The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. I hadn't read this before, and it felt so poetic. It felt beautiful and emotional and raw in ways I hadn't expected. I hadn't read much Sylvia Plath before this, so I definitely will be diving into more of her work. I reread Jane Eyre. It's one of my favorite classics. I mean, Pride and Prejudice always tops the list, no matter what, but I reread this as part of one of my book clubs, and it was interesting to see how differently I perceived their romance this year, because Jane, I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts on this, and if you want, I'm happy to do more bookish blogs where I share those, but that's not the point of today. Today, we're just sharing a few thoughts and doing a little recap of the year. And then the third book the third classic that really stuck with me was Rebecca. It lingered, it was eerie, it was unnerving, and so atmospheric. And that is something that also inspired the book I'm currently writing, because having this almost gothic undercurrent yeah, I find that really inspiring. And this year, for the first time really, I leaned into cozy comfort books. My top genre is still fantasy. It always will be, forever and ever. I am a fantasy girl. But I started reading a lot of cozy books, and there was definitely so much more romance in the mix when I look at my Storygraph genre breakdown than I was expecting. I haven't read that many cozy books, so I'm not even close to being anything like an expert on what to recommend for this, but I've really enjoyed The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana, and the other book that she wrote in the same sort of vibe of Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping, I think it is. I really enjoyed both. They were just a really nice warm blanket. And then Legends and Latte and all the other books in the series by Travis Baldree were fun. They were fun. Sometimes we can just have fun, and that's good. There was also A Coup of Tea and all of those by Cassie Blair, and A Fairy's Tale by F.D. Lee, and The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. All of these cozy books this year just helped me fall in love with reading without guilt. You know, if I felt like reaching for something cozy, I'd go for it. If I felt like reaching for something heavier or darker or more heartbreaking, I'd go for that. And I was just more of a mood reader this year than ever before. But funny enough, I actually made a TBR jar for the first time this autumn, and I really loved that. I added different books that had this autumny vibe, or that I associated with the season and that I wanted to read. I still have a few notes left for books that I didn't manage to get to, but what I'm thinking of doing is making a TBR jar for all of 2024, just adding all of the books that I physically have that I haven't read yet into a jar and pulling them out and reading them as I go along. But I'm kind of worried that that's going to be too much pressure, too much expectation. What if I draw something that I don't feel like reading? I don't know. So I'm wondering if any of you have done something like that. Like if you've done that before, and if so, did you like it? Did it work? What happened when you drew a book that you weren't vibing with in that moment? I don't know. I'm just wondering what you think, and if you've done it, or if you've done a year-long TBR list or something like that. So let me know, please. A little bit of guidance on this would help. Oh, and I can't ever forget my biggest comfort rereads. This year, they were A Natural History of Dragons and the whole series by Marie Brennan. And I just adore the character of Lady Trent, Lady Isabella Trent. Let me see if I can find a photo of her somewhere. She is a strong feminine powerhouse without having to be masculine. And I really like that. She is independent and dynamic and has so much attitude and character, but she doesn't take on male characteristics in order to be a strong, independent woman. And I appreciate that. Later on in the series, there are things that can be very thinly veiled appropriation, but in terms of her character of Lady Trent, I love her. I think she's fantastic. So yeah, one of my favorite rereads. The other, surprise, surprise, Addie. Always Addie, forever Addie, Addie, Addie. I reread this book almost every year. I did this as a reread to annotate, and it was the first book that I actually annotated because we're gonna do a book swap with a couple of my friends, and I love reading Addie. I feel so inspired every single time. Yeah, always. And then there were the books that made me linger on the act of writing itself. You know, they made me think of writing in a different way for one reason or another, beyond all of the books I mentioned so far. But there was This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El Motar. I think that's how you pronounce it. And that was just a fascinating study in how you can structure narrative in a different way. It felt like the timeline was so vast and these two worlds were so different, but you could feel the perspective of each character in each chapter. It was interwoven beautifully. I think it's worth reading for any writer, just as a study. And then we've got The Handmaid's Tale and The Testament by Margaret Atwood. Again, dystopian in this case, but the structuring of the narrative and then the, I don't know the word for it, but basically the surrounding of the narrative with the end epilogue and prologues and all of that just enhance it so much that I found that, yeah, I really like Margaret Atwood's books. Those two specifically, some less so. There was Hecate by Nikita Gill, which just felt like a beautiful poem in novel form. And I had never read anything quite so lyrical. I couldn't put it down. I think I read it in a night or something. It was just interesting. And again, a fragmented narrative. So it was just a collection of poems that wove together to make a whole. And last but never least, V. Schwab. She released Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil this year. And it was chunky. It's not a light read. It's heartbreaking. It's hungry. It's toxic. And I found the narrative structure, again, super fascinating. Maybe I've got a thing for narratives right now, but Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil is told from three distinct character points of view, and those chapters are at different places in time when they're taking place. So to be able to weave a story together that spans centuries and yet feels so raw and current and present was brilliant. Brilliant. Also, there's The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, which it hugely influenced the project I'm writing right now, because when I reread that, just certain ideas that were floating all over the place and have to do with my current book just clicked into place. And then I knew how to tackle this story. I had the idea for it for the first time years ago. I don't even remember how long. But then after rereading The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, it just clicked. And yeah, it gave me a lot of certainty in how to approach that. And of course, the books I read always end up feeding into my writing and my creativity, which is what I've been talking about right now, which leads us to the next section, which is my creative and writing year in review. This year was creatively messy in the best way possible. I mean, some days I felt unstoppable. I was on top of the world. And then others, not so much, no. One of my biggest creative challenges this year was consistency. I traveled so much, and I mean, that's such a blessing. It's such a gift. I'm not complaining about that, even in the slightest way, because I feel that helped me recover from burnout and everything. But that meant I didn't have a stable writing routine. As I just said, I was also recovering from burnout, from leaving my corporate job and corporate life behind. I was dealing with so many fluctuating energy levels, which come with the territory of being part of the chronic illness club. And although I did finish one book back in May, I just couldn't settle on an idea for my next one until October, after reading A Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and that just clicked into place. So those moments in between just felt like a creative lull. But this year, I had a lot of wins that I'm really, really proud of. Finishing a novel, great. Starting another one, good. A lot of experimentation with other types of creativity and things like that. Like, I tried ceramics for the first time. I've just been experimenting a lot and just learning a lot. So basically, I think, my biggest takeaway this year is to celebrate progress, not perfection. What about you? How has your creative year been? What are you most proud of? And what did you learn about your process? Just let me know in the comments below. And honestly, I think that so much of my growth happened because of the Uncharted Studio. And so I'm so proud and so grateful that I took the leap to give this a shot. I had no idea how much building this space would change me and help me feel like I can be more myself with every other part of my life. Showing up here almost every week taught me consistency without the rigidity. Although I clearly do need more rigidity than I had this year in order to stick with my writing routines and goals. And I thought showing up online would be very scary or terrifying. And it is. It's really scary putting yourself out there in such an open and vulnerable way. But at the same time, it became one of the most supportive parts of my creative life. I feel so connected this year with other writers, with a broader writing community, and with people who are on a similar journey to me. Every message, every comment, every little shared story that I get from y'all means something to me. It makes me feel so much more certain that I am now on the right path. And yeah, that starting over at 35 was not a bad idea after all. And it just, yeah, sometimes it helps when you're doing something creative to not be doing it alone. So I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful that you're here. This reflection felt a bit like closing a chapter, but not in a dramatic way. It felt like doing so in a comforting way where you realize, oh, I actually made it through. I actually made it through the year. And then, you know, now we can take a breath and appreciate how far we've come. I'd love to hear about your wins this year, whether they were books you read that you loved, whether they were creative wins or anything else. I'd love to hear about them. And just before we turn the page together, I'm gonna just sit with these feelings for a bit. Just let them sink in and focus on the gratitude. And then next Tuesday, I'll invite you back as we gently sketch out our goals, our intentions, and our creative hopes for 2026. I'm changing my posting schedule. I'm going to be posting on Tuesdays from now on instead of Thursdays, just to, you know, let you know. But anyway, I'm so grateful. Thank you. Really, thank you for being part of this year with me, whether you joined in April or yesterday or now. I'm just so glad you're here. And I'll see you next Tuesday for our 2026 goals and intentions session. It's been a good one. I'm happy. I'm happy. And I could not decide on books.